In August 2000, an audio file entitled Murder and Rape of an Elderly Woman was published on the 911 website. The description of this audio recording says, "An elderly woman calls the police and reports a suspicious man outside. During conversations with the dispatcher, she was brutally beaten and killed. The dispatcher was unable to obtain her address before she was attacked. Later, this call will go down in history as one of the most terrible phone calls. I suggest you listen to this audio recording, but I want to warn you that it can really scare you."
What's the problem, ma'am? Oh, well, there's some guy been checking the place out.
No.
Well, he went in the back. I have an apartment in the back, and he said he was looking for a guy. And he comes to my door and
Yeah?
and said he's looking for an apartment. So I live alone, and I'm an old lady.
Mm-hmm. Where is he now, ma'am?
I have no idea.
Operator?
And so in her call, a woman who calls herself Ruth Price reports that she is worried about a suspicious guy wandering near her house. While talking with the operator, she falls silent several times, probably listening to something. During one of these pauses, an unknown person attacks a woman, after which heartbreaking screams are heard. At the very beginning, Ruth gives his address, but the operator interrupts the woman, and she does not have time to dictate it completely. Due to the fact that the operator did not receive the full address, help was never sent, since the police simply did not know where to drive. But why didn't the operator receive the woman's full address, despite the fact that she was obliged to do this in the first of all? Turns out Ruth wasn't talking to the 911 operator. The fact is that at that time there was no 911 system in San Diego. It would appear later in 1982, 2 years after Ruth Price rang. Apparently the woman called the police station directly. After the audio recording spread across the internet, many rumors began to appear about this call, even to the point that it was a fake. However, I want to assure you that the call is absolutely real. For 2 decades, people have tried to identify this mysterious Ruth Price, but to no avail, and only recently did it become known about the fate of this woman. Ruth Mildred was born December 7, 1917 in Pueblo, Colorado State. She married William Price, and they later moved to San Diego. In 1972, William died, and Ruth began to live alone, which made her an easy prey for an attacker. Since the call appeared online, it has been claimed that the woman was killed, but this is not at all true. The November 3, 1980 San Diego newspaper has a section called Assaults and contains the following information. Police are looking for a youth who tried to strangle a 76-year-old East San Diego woman yesterday. Officers said Ruth Price, 3800 block of 35th Street, was calling police to advise them of a prowler in the area when she was grabbed from behind and choked. She was able to break the attacker's grip after dropping the telephone, screaming and pulling at the attacker's hands. The youth fled. Price said she didn't know why she was assaulted and had never seen the suspect before. There is no doubt that the reference is to Ruth Price from that same call, but there appears to be a typo in the newspaper article. At that time, Ruth was 67 years old, not 76. As you already understand, the woman was not killed. Despite the horror from the telephone call, the woman was still able to fight off the attacker and lived for another 14 long years. A photo has been circulated online that allegedly shows Ruth Price, but it's not her. The woman in the picture is a completely different Ruth Price. She died in 2015 at the age of 91. For several years, this photo was mistakenly passed off as the photo of Ruth Price from that same phone call. I was able to find a family photo and a high school yearbook photo of the real Ruth Price. Now you know who Ruth Price was and what really happened to her.